mid-June 2024 with the Lovelocks of Sunninghill. Rough cut photo trails. And as I always say, there will be rough cut. They're mostly an aid to my memory and an advert for getting help in house and garden. Okay, Robin's Corner, where we live at 22 Armitage Court. Things are getting a bit overgrown. Warning sign about fierce guard cats, you might possibly see one. Where GPS was tested from the late 1980s on, at this spot here, so-called Robin's Corner. Yes, garden sculpture given by June for a birthday present 4 years ago now. The oak tree that sprang up for an acorn since we've been living here. And I'll point out something which is very new, a bright idea which will appear on the photo trails. That table that came out of a skip at the Cricketers, Beefeaters restaurant, pub, turned upside down with decking around it, might make a good box to be lined with waterproof plastic. Yes, most plastic's waterproof. As a test tank for Snoopy, and you'll see more of Snoopy's robot boat in a moment. I'm first pointing out things like the bicycle that I've still not learnt to ride, hardly any work needed on it. That's a very old project, a couple of years at least. Yeah, warning signs about armed mice as well as the guard cats. You might see one making their way back towards the front of the house. The camper that will be taking another trip out soon. This is their front porch. Front porch? Not sure what you call it. And the damage, battle damage on the camper. June said Robin did it. Robin said the wall did it, but the wall is okay. And I wouldn't want that to be changed at all. Before we come into the house, we should have had these warnings earlier. They're health and safety warnings. Yes, cameras everywhere. Most of them are visible. Some are less obvious, like this one down here, catching the wildlife coming for the peanuts. That's a peanut feeder that we put in before our holiday in Sicily. And yes, I better read out these signs. Of course, they're all jokes. Don't take anything seriously, I say. CCTV, hidden TV cameras inside and out this house. Sound and video is monitored in local houses and elsewhere. No trespassing. Violators will be shot. Survivors will be shot again. And yes, that's my study in there. Do not disturb. I'm disturbed enough already. And this one is very important because it's not just cameras. Home of mad ex-NATO scientist Robin Lovelock, beware of web cameras and water squirters loaded with water, paint, acid, DNA tracer or nerve agent. Robin would not be mad enough to test these, or would he? There you go, just a joke of course. Yes, so that was a project from Christmas. Last Christmas the fairy didn't get very far. Lots of other gadgets there. They've appeared on earlier photo trails. See if I can get into the house carefully now. And lots of other things took priority after we got back from Sicily, and they're reflected in earlier videos. And the robot boat.
11 seconds, target alpha, 11 kilometers, at 349 degrees, GPS cruise 82, speed 0.0 knots, left 90.
Right, I'll point out a few things here. To avoid distraction, I'll switch it off. I've obviously taken the lid off, and that is a waterproof container. This equipment, so a lot of work has been done over the last year or so in getting the boat ready. The main practical thing, which I would have pointed out earlier, is that test equipment just for Bray Lake, like the Mobius video camera, plugs in there, and that platform can be removed after a Bray Lake test, so that then the rest of the boat is ready to go to sea. And I think all that test equipment is less than half a kilogram, 500 grams. And so obviously all these things need to be tested by others, and the very good test is on Bray Lake. And what I'm going to do here is switch on the system and it will go through a startup sequence.
Snoopy's Pickaxe 28X2 GPS only autopilot. Software version Romeo. Last update 6th of December 2017.
That's the startup sequence.
GPS time 9:52. 44 seconds. Target Alpha. 11 kilometers. At 349 degrees. GPS course 37. Speed 0.2 knots. Left 48.
It's now guiding to the default waypoint on Bray Lake. Anyway, there's enough on the Snoopy pages, and this seems a good, yes, this is where we need lots of help. This was a bright idea a few days ago for a test tank, but after getting it, which cost very little, I realised it would be too much work to get it working, get it suitable to put the boat in. Photo trails will show unsuccessful visits looking for half a metre of water. This is the kitchen. Yeah, it's not much happened in here. This is my study, very tidy of course. And what we have on the screen in the lounge is the relevant bit from Snoopy's robot boat page. And here, for example, anybody interested in where the boat is or the tracker, they click on that and it'll take them to the Spot Satcoms tracker. So I think that's about it, where we can run into the photo trails. You'll be glad to know. I think I've pointed out most things. So yeah, lots of work needed in the garden. There's the boat there, of course. So the outstanding job, very minor, is to check the exact water level without all the test equipment. It won't make much difference, which is the remaining bit of artwork, because the boat has changed very little in quite a few years now. That boat has survived and been repaired, so perhaps a line or two on the boat to show the plimsoll line. And I must admit, one of the photo trails I wrongly spoke about it dating back to 1987. I think it was 1887. Right. Glance at the garden. It's not going to be a full tour like some of the other ones. Yes, our top pond. Everything growing like mad. Down here, telescope. Yeah, lots of projects. Haven't had a chance to be doing anything on. Lots of work to catch up, get somebody to help us. But there's far more important work than just simply, I did cut the grass a bit after we got back from holiday, than staying on top of the garden. I will point out the Gunner Romanticata, that's coming along nicely. Giant rhubarb. So, yes, that's the easy work. There's a lot more work inside the house, putting things in the right place, including out into the space created in the garden. That's my plea, handyman type work with lots of common sense. So, yes, it's a bit windy. Oh, that's the water squirter. I hasten to add that is water that it's loaded in there. Nothing mischievous, well, dangerous. So, this is where we're going to go. Yes, let Snoopy carry on chatting. We're going to that photo trail, or set of photo trails now, and there'll be a long set of photo trails. Oh, interrupted. Is that a guard cat? Yes, that's the one from behind us. Sorry about that. You get these interruptions, you have to grab the opportunity. So, into those long photo trails now. Monday the 24th of June 2024. Practically no photos shot that day. Robin spent much of his time sorting out the video, getting it onto YouTube. Here are several pictures from the lovely Armitage Murray Residents Association event, which went up onto YouTube, two of the channels, early on. That was on the Monday. So that's the end of the photo trail. Tuesday the 25th of June 2024. Yes, starting with Toady in his washing basket in the utility room, his favourite spot for beginning of the day. And I decided to take a walk down to the village to buy several things, and popped into one stop, got a bit of cash, came back, and then I found a dead mouse on the drive. Sorry about that. Yeah, Toady obviously. It was quite warm, and yeah, I get my lift to the pub lunch by Stuart, and this time it's on their way there to the Beefeater, the Cricketers. And yes, usual motley crew, usual, Terry says NATO standard curry, but on account of the chefs I call it Warsaw Pack standard, but it's okay, good stuff. So came back, I popped in briefly to home, one or two things before going back for coffee, and yes, quite a lot of other things happened. A bright idea of Richard's was, because I needed to get the boat into about 3 foot of water to check the water line on it, how about the pond opposite John's place? And June, despite having tennis later in the day again, kindly said, oh yeah, okay. She agreed to give him a lift, so we managed to get Snoopy in the back of the car without dissembling it at all. And yes, Toadie's guarding the house while we're away, so we're off. It's only 5 or 10 minutes around the other side of Ascot. Yeah, boat goes nicely in the back, through South Ascot, through the centre of Ascot. Yes, they're taking stuff apart after Royal Ascot races. And we get to John's place and check out the pond. And of course the bad news is that everything was far too shallow, certainly round the edge where you could easily get to it. Not much more than a few inches, and we need about 3 foot, about a metre. Lots of lovely wildlife there, of course, lovely spot. And I guess if it was a bit deeper, then people would be tempted to swim in it. Right, so June then had the bright idea of another pond that wasn't that far away, this side of Bracknell. And I thought, yeah, it's a little while since we went there. Savernake Park, a lovely area. And of course, when you actually look at the details of the pond, it was obviously part of some grand estate once upon a time, looking at all the lovely brickwork. And I had a good look round. I chatted to some local guys as well, and improvised a depth gauge with a stick. But again, it was only a few inches, all the places I walked around. So at the end of the day, yeah, nice visiting the place, but not suitable. So we could have gone all the way over to Bray Lake, I guess, but there wasn't time because June had to get back for her tennis. So back through South Ascot, back home, into Armitage Court, number 22. And yeah, so unload the boat. Wasn't that difficult to do. Yes, it's just a question of where I found a bit of water. And of course, a possibility was none of our ponds are really deep enough now. Yes, that's looking at where we went on the spot tracker that's going into the boat, and then also my personal tracker, and that showed a little bit more detail because it's where I was walking, updating several times. And then the bright idea, perhaps I can get a lift to Screwfix. So June and Samantha are off to tennis, but I went with them because I looked up and I found some shelving units, and they weren't more than about £25, and I thought, yeah, that might do the job. So I then walked round to join them at it was the women's social evening, and basically unpacked the stuff, and fingers crossed it might be suitable with a bit of work on it. And then somebody very kindly gave me a lift and so I didn't have to walk all the way home. There's lady inspecting things. Yes, looking on the tracker, that shows where I went to Screwfix, and then to the Ascot Tennis Club, and back home, just here. Oh yes, loads of 4 pigeons at the same time on that bird table. That's where I was relaxing. Oh yes, and that little, lovely anniversary card from the Pussycats to June and Robin. Yeah, so relaxing there. Could see Toadie sat on Samantha's car. He probably heard the engine starting up over at Ascot Tennis Club, and so they get back relatively late, as you can see. And there's the spot tracker, the one that's going in the boat, showing that they got back. And ladies relaxing, time for bed. So that's the end of the photo trail. Wednesday the 26th of June 2024. Totally relaxing in the garden. It was a warm day. First photo was a idea for a test tank for Snoopy, and yes, it means a trip out to pick up some bits, and it's making use of that table turned upside down. That came out of a skip from the cricketers, I seem to recall, and put in a load of decking around it to make a strong container. Yes, the women have just got back from whatever that was, shopping trip I think, and yes, all picked up on the cameras, including the ring camera down low near the peanuts, and the other cameras pick up, I need to top up the bird feeder on the roof, and while about it I'll go down the garden. Yes, watched by Toadie. Yes, sun was out and that shadow was in the right position for just about 2 o'clock in the afternoon BST, 1 o'clock GMT. Yes, that's working as well. An email exchange with the Lovelock lines, and also looked up Waterline and Plimsoll. Found interesting history on that, dating to 1987 I think. I learnt something from that. Anyhow, first trip was to home base at Bracknell, because I knew they cut up wood there. That didn't give the results, because the wood was out of stock, despite the website saying it wasn't. So then we tried Maidenhead, also problem, but then went into Bray Lake, and the big surprise was, incredible work that had been done near Snoopy's base and around there, which is those large iron girders. So it's structurally incredible. So all an improvement. Oh yes, we decided to have ice creams and refreshments. I took a good few photos around. I walked around because I was looking. There wasn't anywhere that obvious to pop the boat in to check the water line. So this idea of a test tank still makes sense at home. But I used the opportunity to walk round and check the place out. And of course, generally speaking, it's better than it's ever been. There are some areas of no-go, which is where the fishermen naturally have to protect their fish in spots, and I've only used those for observation of Snoopy very occasionally. Yes, quite warm. It was a hot day and there was very little breeze. So we've done Bray Lake, and where are we off to next? Probably home. Yes, through Sunninghill and the Courts Hall, and the cinema, shops, back to 22 Armitage Court, and the Snoopy boat. Check the spot tracker, Satcom's tracker, that is going in the boat, and that showed where we'd been, including to Bray Lake, and back home. Yes, and then the other tracker, the Go Top pendant tracker, again showed my walk, because it's something that I wear around Bray Lake, not right the way round, and then back home, just here, with Lady relaxing, that's Michelle's cat, and Toadie decided to come in to eat. June's watching tennis, time for bed. That's the end of the photo trail. I warned you they would be long photo trails, so we're going to wind up now with wind up is probably the wrong word, with stuff shot over a year ago now on the subject of global warming and the prophetic words of James Lovelock, and also my experiences with the DVLA. Some people may want to check them out. So I think the old clip started at about here. Now what I put on the screen, because global warming is in itself, it's something that's been on my grumpy page for years. The remarkable James Lovelock, who passed away on the 26th of July, his 103rd birthday. I'll read out what this says here. This has been on the grumpy page for years, not long after the publication of his book, Revenge of Gaia. We can't stop global warming, but we may delay it by a few decades to give us time to prepare for its effects. Vast areas of the world, including as close as continental Europe, becoming arid desert, shrinking of habitable areas of the planet to much smaller parts of the planet, closer to the poles. The Earth will then only be able to support a small fraction of its present population, and there will be a need for massive migration. Places like the UK will remain temperate a little longer, so be an attractive destination. We need all world governments to cooperate to prepare for this inevitability. Also to agree things like reduce use of fossil fuels to give us a few more decades to prepare. And then it goes on. The above is not a quote, but how I remember what James Lovelock said in his book, The Revenge of Gaia, etc. That's been unchanged on my site for years. And right, well, the other thing I should mention, yes, retired happy and spending that kid's inheritance, is for some time now I've not been able to drive due to, well, several mistakes at the DVLA. And what I will say is that I have new evidence of what happened inside the DVLA, which I won't publish yet, because I'm still waiting for the reply to the letter which was delivered by recorded delivery to the head of the DVLA and also other people. So I'll put in at the end of this long video the video that's gone up, me talking about the DVLA, and basically in summary it says I don't want anybody to get into trouble, and that is definitely the case, and resigning is too easy. Problems need to be fixed. But quite honestly, that is a minor thing compared with all the other things that are going on in the world, not least wars, and of course what's in the background and very important is global warming. So let's run into that. back in 2012.
Seen the launch of a transatlantic sailing attempt this morning in a model boat. Retired NATO scientist Lovelock launched his Snoop loop from Barton-on-Sea towards the Bahamas. It's already been tested over 5,000 miles on a lake in Berkshire. The model will be steered and tracked through a satellite system and by Snoopy, of course, and it should make the crossing in 6 months, if it survives, that is.
The most important thing of the lot, of course, is Snoopy the Viking, the skipper. I don't think he'd make it otherwise. We've also got another bit and piece here. This is a GPS logger that logs the position every 15 minutes.
That was back in 2012. The guy that put this material together, including the live broadcast and what went up on the BBC website, is Ben Moore.
I just worry for Snoopy. Sport now and Hampshire.
Right, on to the next topic. Right. Now, I'm going to do this all in one take. All unrehearsed and unscripted, so sorry about that. What I'd like to happen, if anybody picks up on the DVLA story, is, as I say, nobody getting into trouble, and that's a genuine request, but when they find flaws in procedures where they don't cover certain things, be good if those are fixed. What I think would be useful for anybody looking at the DVLA and perhaps helping them is, first of all, their organisation chart showing the structure. Yes, it's well known who the head of the DVLA, remarkable woman, looking at her CV, and relevant to this story is the head of the health part. But it would be very useful to see, even if names aren't attached, obviously the names can be attached where they're public already, is how many people in each branch, how many people are reporting to how many. So a simple tree would help. I suggest that first of all. Then, perhaps even more important, is how many people working for the DVLA, even if you don't identify the individuals, are salaried by the DVLA excuse me, directly, as opposed to contracted through an agency or a business. That is very important, and we've seen what's been happening in places like the NHS for years. So that comes into the equation in terms of whether money is well spent, and of course the DVLA collects a lot of money, and there are probably other things as well, but as a starting point, I'd hope anybody that responds to this, I can't afford to get overloaded, we've got other things to do, many other things to do, and we'll be taking a holiday, that'll be public, yes. I'm tracked everywhere by different things, and in fact, if anybody's paranoid about it, anybody who's tracking somebody or looking at somebody's probably seen already. But at the end of the day, there's me wittering on, which is one of my main weaknesses since I was a little child. That's why if you put things up, clearly be careful what you put up, and often it can do some good. I'm now in the kitchen, and June's rustling up some food in the microwave for Samantha, and here's Samantha, and of course there's tennis on the television, just for a change. So, oh yes, point out, holidays in we're going off to Sicily again soon, and into the hall. Yes, nice expensive paintings here. Yep, expensive little pocket camera, not expensive. And through into the lounge and out to wrap up this video by saying, look after yourselves, stay safe, and enjoy what days we have. Yes, it's now middle of March 2024, and the pond's changed quite a bit. I'll have to change the copyright statement at the end, but the message is the same. Look after yourselves, stay safe and enjoy life while we can. Oh yeah, my hair's grown a bit since then.